Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, advanced with the Muslim army under the command of the second Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, towards Jerusalem with the aim of establishing Islamic rule and freeing its people from bondage, offering them freedom. Leading the army was Khalid ibn al-Walid, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. After a long journey, the Muslim army arrived in Jerusalem in November and laid siege to the city. The siege lasted for 6 continuous months. After these 6 months, the city leader, Sophronius, agreed to surrender, but with one condition. The condition was that the city would only be handed over to Caliph Umar, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in person. Sophronius refused to hand over the city's gates to Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, who was representing Umar, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, until Umar himself arrived in Jerusalem. Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah wrote a letter to Umar, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, explaining the situation. Upon receiving the letter, Umar, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, without any agitation, arrogance, or display of power, set off toward Jerusalem, accompanied by only one servant and a single camel. Both Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu and his servant took turns riding the camel. When Umar rode, the servant would hold the camel's reins, and when the servant rode, Umar radiallahu anhu would lead the camel on foot. As they neared the city, they could see the gates of Jerusalem. Upon approaching the gates, Umar, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the ruler of half the world at the time, wore simple clothing, reportedly with 14 patches. This simplicity astonished Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who expressed concern, fearing that the Romans, accustomed to grandeur and luxury, would not accept a leader dressed in such modest attire. He suggested that Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu wear something more befitting his status. Hearing this, Umar radiallahu anhu was angered and struck Abu Ubaidah on the chest, saying, "O Abu Ubaidah, I never expected such low words from you." He then added, "We are a people whom Allah has honored with Islam. If we seek honor through anything else, Allah will disgrace us." Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu entered Jerusalem leading the camel with his servant riding it, a sight that deeply astonished the Roman leader Sophronius. He was amazed by the simplicity and detachment from worldly matters displayed by Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Despite being the ruler of half the known world, Umar radiallahu anhu entered the city without any military parade or pomp, relying solely on his faith in Allah. As Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu toward the holy city, Sophronius accompanied him. When the time for prayer arrived, Sophronius invited Umar anhu to pray inside a church, but Umar politely declined. When Sophronius asked why, Umar explained that if he prayed inside the church, Muslims might later convert it into a mosque, thereby depriving Christians of their place of worship. So, Umar prayed outside the church, and later, a mosque was built at that spot, which became known as the Mosque of Umar. The current structure of the Mosque of Umar was built in 1193 by Sultan al-Afdal, the son of Salahuddin Ayyubi, in memory of this event. The 15-meter, 49-foot-tall minaret was built before 1465, and the mosque was restored by the Ottoman Sultan Abdulmajid I. The church where Sophronius had invited Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu to pray still stands today and is known as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. During his time in Jerusalem, Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu issued a royal decree ensuring the protection of non-Muslim places of worship. He drafted a constitution for the Christians of Jerusalem, stating, "In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful." This is the peace treaty granted by the servant of Allah, the leader of the Muslims, Umar, to the people of Ilya, Jerusalem. It guarantees the safety of their lives, properties, churches, and crosses, and it applies to all Christians, healthy or sick. No one among the Muslims will reside in their churches, nor will their churches be destroyed or harmed in any way. Their crosses and properties will remain intact and unviolated.